Hey there, everybody. It's a late Saturday evening, just prepping for church tomorrow, and it just wanted to share with you. It's kind of fun some of the things that you find when you're doing your sermon preparation, and you get deep into Bible study, and you find out all these weird things about the scripture that you're looking at. Some of it makes a lot of sense. Some of it, it's neither here nor there. For instance, well, just to fill you in, Uh, the gospel lesson for today is often called the little apocalypse. The big apocalypse is the book of Revelation, but in Mark, chapter 13 is often referred to as the little apocalypse or Mark's apocalypse because it talks about end times types of things. So, one of the things that Jesus said to do was to look for signs of the end times, look for the abomination of desecration. What's that? Well, he's actually quoting from Daniel chapter 7, in which he's talking about a Greek king whose name was Antiochus Epiphanes, who had come in and put down a rebellion that was going on in Jerusalem, and then went into the temple to the altar and sacrificed a pig on the altar. That was the abomination of desecration. So, in a sense, what we're thinking is Jesus is saying, watch out for something like this to happen, and then you'll know that the end is coming. That's horrible. That's terrible. Well, here's the interesting thing. Uh, Antiochus Epiphanes had minted a coin in which on it said Theos Epiphanes, which means God is revealed. And then he took that name Epiphanes, tacked it on to the end of his name, Antiochus. So you have Antiochus Epiphanes. Antiochus is revealed. God is revealed. Hey, I'm God. Well, just so happened a lot of critics back there in Greece gave him a nickname. Instead of Epiphanes, it was Epimanes, which meant, well, should I say it? I'll say it in a nice way. It meant madman. Madman. Antiochus Madman. Okay, that'll never show up in a sermon. How about this might, the title that Jesus also borrowed from the book of Daniel, Son of Man. When the Son of Man appears, why would he say that instead of Messiah? Well, because Messiah had all kind of military overtones. The people believed that when the Messiah came, he was going to kick out those nasty Romans. Jesus didn't want any of that. So he used Son of Man, which did not have any connotation of military might at all. And he used that one instead. And yet, as we find out, the people still didn't get it. Still didn't get it. Here's one. The scripture that we'll read tomorrow, Sunday, or today, whatever, from Mark 13, talks about rooster crow. Jesus is referring to different times of the night watch, one of them being from about midnight to 3, and that's called cock crow, when the rooster would crow. Be on watch. Don't fall asleep during this time. Interesting. That's the only time in the New Testament that the word rooster shows up, except for one other time, and that shows up in all the Gospels. It's when Peter denied Jesus there in the courtyard when Jesus was at trial. When he denied Jesus, the cock crowed 3 times. Ooh, interesting, isn't it? When Jesus told us to stay alert and to be on our watch because we don't know the time when the Son of Man was coming again, referring to himself, here we have all these people trying to tell us when Jesus is coming back, and they have the exact time, the exact day marked down on the calendar. No. Remember, there's 2 different Greek words for time. And if they only had taken enough time to look at that, they would realize they have it all wrong. There's chronos time and there's kairos time. Chronos, chronological time, it's Hey, it's 11:15. It's time for bed. Or Kairos time. Well, it's high time you did something. You know, it's the type of time that all of history kind of hinges upon, and things will be different from this point on. All right, the time that Jesus is talking about is the Kairos time, not the Chronos. We just don't know. We don't know. So stop trying to figure it out. Month, day, year, hour. It just doesn't cut it. And one other thing that's kind of a neat thing, if you go back to the Old Testament lesson for today from Isaiah, the prophet is saying, "Oh God, that you would just tear apart the heavens, tear them apart, and come on down and take care of this mess of stuff that's going on down here." Tear apart. Interesting. In the Greek translation of the Old Testament, the Greek word for tear apart occurs twice in the life of Jesus. Once when he's baptized, and it says the heavens were opened and the Spirit came down like a dove. It literally says the heavens were torn apart. Same word. And there's one other time that tear apart shows up. It's when Jesus is crucified and dies. And when that happened, the curtain that separated the Holy of Holies in the temple was torn. It was torn apart. Just some neat things that you find, some little tidbits that they might mean something, they may not. Who knows? Hey, go back to the rooster. When Jesus said, "Hey, be prepared. You don't know when the master of the house is coming back. It might be at midnight, it might be at cockcrow." Maybe he had his eye at Peter at that point and said, "Be alert, Peter. Be alert." And the whole time that Jesus is telling his disciples to be alert for the signs of the times, be awake. What do when Jesus is praying in the Garden of Gethsemane? They fall asleep. Lots of good stuff that we could talk about. Those are a few things that sometimes you find when you do a really good Bible study on a scripture passage. So don't be afraid to dig deep. There's a lot of good gems in there. God's blessings be with you.